The huge meeting room on Nexus Station fell silent as Ambassador William Harris stood up from his seat. The blue-skinned aliens and the tall insect-like beings stopped their whispers. Even the floating gas creatures in the corner stopped changing colors. Something in the human's face made them all pay attention. Harris was tired. For 5 years, he had sat at this table. For 5 years, he had listened to the 7 alien races of the Galactic Council talk down to him and the other humans. Today was the last straw. "I have heard enough," Harris said in a calm voice. His gray hair and lined face showed his 58 years of age. He had spent 20 of those years trying to get humans accepted as equals in the galaxy. Earth and all human colonies are officially withdrawing from these talks. Council Speaker Zirkath, a tall being with purple scales and 4 arms, let out a sound that might have been a laugh. "Ambassador Harris, please sit down. We all get frustrated sometimes." Harris did not sit. Instead, he picked up the data tablet that Zirkath had carelessly left open on the table. The screen showed secret plans to take over 3 human mining colonies. The document had the Council's official seal on it. "This does not look like frustration to me, Speaker Zirkath. This looks like you plan to steal our worlds while pretending to be our friends." The other 6 council members looked at the speaker with surprise and anger. The document was not supposed to be seen by humans. Zirkath's scales turned a darker purple, a sign of embarrassment in his species. "That is simply a planning exercise," Zirkath said quickly. "We consider many possible futures." Susan Miller, the second human ambassador, stood up next to Harris. Her young face looked angry, but her voice stayed professional. "Including futures where you break our treaties and take our planets, after we helped defend your trade routes against the Promaxian raiders last year." The large gray alien named Quilera waved one of her 6 tentacles dismissively. "Your ships were barely useful in that conflict. Without our guidance, your species would still be stuck on your single planet." Harris pushed the data tablet across the table. "We have been patient. We have been respectful. For 20 years, humanity has asked for equal membership in the Council. For 20 years, you have found reasons to delay." He looked at each alien representative one by one. "Humanity will no longer wait for your approval. Effective immediately, Earth withdraws from all agreements with the Galactic Council." The room erupted in noise. Some council members shouted questions. Others demanded humans could not legally withdraw. The floating gas beings turned bright red with alarm. Harris raised his hand, and the 5 other human representatives stood up. They began packing their materials calmly, as if they had practiced this moment. "You need us," said the insect-like representative from the Arcturian Federation. His voice clicked through his translator. "Your colonies depend on our protection. The galaxy is dangerous for a young species like yours." Ambassador Harris smiled slightly. "We have learned much from our time with the Council, perhaps more than you realize." Susan Miller handed Harris a small device. He pressed it, and suddenly all the screens in the room went dark. When they came back on seconds later, all data about Earth and human territories had been wiped from the Council databases. "We will protect what is ours," Harris said. "If the Council wishes to establish new relations with humanity in the future, as equals, you may contact us. Until then, all diplomatic channels are closed." The human delegation walked out of the room in perfect order. As the doors closed behind them, the council members looked at each other in confusion. Some seemed worried, but most were simply annoyed. "They will come back when they realize how foolish this is," Quilera said confidently. Only Trell, the youngest council member, looked truly concerned. "I am not so sure," he said quietly. "I think we may have made a terrible mistake." Outside the council chamber, Ambassador Harris took a deep breath. After 20 years of fake smiles and careful words, it felt good to finally speak the truth. "Send the signal to Earth," he told Susan. "It's time for Plan Omega." The underground meeting room in Geneva was packed with the most important people from Earth. Military leaders sat next to scientists and business owners. Everyone was quiet as they waited for news. Admiral Diane Powell stood at the front of the room. Her uniform was perfect, just like her short gray hair. On the large screen behind her, a countdown timer showed 3 minutes left. "Ambassador Harris and the delegation have just left Nexus Station," she said. "Plan Omega is now active." The room filled with whispers. Some people looked worried. Others looked excited. Humanity had prepared for this day for 10 years, but now that it was here, even the bravest felt nervous. The door opened, and Dr. Alan Murphy rushed in. He was the head scientist for Earth's secret technology program. His white lab coat had coffee stains, and his wild brown hair showed he hadn't slept much. "Sorry I'm late," he said, taking a seat next to General Frank Rodriguez. "We just finished the final tests on the shield generators." The general nodded. He was a large man with dark eyes that missed nothing. "Did they work?" Dr. Murphy smiled. "Better than we hoped. The new shields can stop any weapon the Council has shown us so far." The timer on the screen reached 0, and a new image appeared. It was Ambassador Harris, now on his ship heading back to Earth. "The Council reacted exactly as we expected," Harris said to the room. "They think we'll come crawling back within weeks." Admiral Powell stepped forward. "Then we proceed as planned. All ships begin Operation Silent Departure. Around the Earth, in secret bases and hidden factories, things began to move quickly. Ships that had been built in secret were now loaded with supplies. Scientists packed up special equipment. Military bases on Mars and Europa activated defense systems that had been hidden from Council observers for years. In her lab in Arizona, Dr. Lisa Bennett watched her team install new engines on transport ships. These engines were based on Council designs, but with human improvements that made them 30% faster and much harder to track. "Will 24 hours be enough time to finish all the ships?" asked her assistant. Dr. Bennett nodded. "It has to be. The Council will notice something's wrong in about 36 hours when our regular supply ships don't show up." In orbit above Earth, Captain Peter Allen received new orders on his patrol ship Guardian. He read them twice to make sure he understood. "Navigation. Set course for the Epsilon mining colony," he told his crew. "We need to get there before the Council realizes what's happening." His second-in-command, Officer Jane Butler, looked concerned. "The Epsilon colony. That's outside our normal patrol area." "Not anymore," Captain Allen said. "Our job just got bigger. We need to bring all human settlements under our protection now that the Council won't be helping us." In New York, the United Nations held an emergency meeting. The Secretary General explained to world leaders what was happening. "For too long, the Galactic Council has treated us like children," he said. "They have taken our resources, used our people as cheap labor, and given us little in return. Today, we take back our independence." Some leaders looked afraid. "What if they attack us?" asked one. General Rodriguez stood up. "We've been preparing our defenses for years. The Council doesn't know what we're capable of because we've never shown them our true strength." In space stations and colonies throughout the solar system, humans received new instructions. Ships changed course. Hidden weapons came online. Messages spread from Earth to the farthest human settlements. "Stand ready. Protect what is ours. Help is coming." Back in Geneva, Admiral Powell looked at the star map showing all human territories. "Phase 1 is underway," she said to her team. "We have 6 months before the Council realizes what they've lost." Dr. Murphy looked up from his computer. "What about the Element 935 shipments? The Council depends on those." Admiral Powell's face was serious. "That's the point, Doctor. Sometimes people only value what they no longer have." On Nexus Prime, the Grand Council chamber looked even bigger than usual. 5 of the 7 council members sat at their high seats. 2 seats remained empty as they waited for the others to arrive. "This is a waste of time," said Kulera, her gray tentacles moving with irritation. "The humans will return soon enough. Why call an emergency meeting?" Trell, the youngest council member, looked worried. His blue skin had a pale tint today. It has been 2 weeks. Not a single human ship has been seen at any trading post or jump gate in council space. The large doors opened, and Zerkath entered with Mokhtar of the Vexari hive. They took their seats at the table. "Let us begin," Zerkath said. His purple scales shimmered under the bright lights. "The humans have completely withdrawn from council space. All communication channels are closed." Mokhtar clicked his mandibles together, a sign of annoyance in his insect-like species. "They are acting like children. We should teach them a lesson." "What do you suggest?" asked Trell. "We send warships to Earth. For what purpose? They have broken no laws." "They have mining contracts they must honor," said Kulera. "My people need the metals from their asteroid belt." Zerkath raised 2 of his 4 hands for silence. "I propose we freeze all human assets in council banks. We will also restrict their access to jump gates. When they cannot trade or travel, they will quickly understand their mistake." The vote was quick. 6 council members agreed immediately. Only Trell hesitated before adding his vote. "It is decided," Zerkath announced. "The humans will learn that they cannot survive without the Council's protection and guidance." Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds, the news about humans spread quickly. Some found it amusing that such a young species would challenge the Council. Others simply didn't care. Humans were not important in the big picture of galactic politics. In a small bar on Nexus Prime, a news screen showed images of humans packing up their embassy. "Good riddance," said a Viridian merchant to his drinking partner. "Those humans never respected our customs. Always asking questions, always wanting to change things." His partner, a trader with 4 eyes and green skin, nodded. "They will be back. Where else can they sell their goods? Who else will protect them from the Promaxian raiders?" At the Council Military Command, General Dexval reviewed the latest reports. The large red alien had fought in 3 galactic wars and respected strength above all else. "Have the humans moved their defense fleet?" he asked his assistant. "No, General. Their ships remain in their solar system, but they have gone silent. No communications, no response to hails." Dexval made a rumbling sound in his chest. "Keep watching them. I do not trust this sudden withdrawal." In the Council Economic Ministry, reports began to come in about minor problems. Luxury foods that came only from Earth were no longer available in markets. Some building projects were delayed because special Earth metals had not arrived. 3 entertainment companies canceled new shows because the human writers had returned to Earth. Minister Plex dismissed these concerns with a wave of his tentacle. "Temporary adjustments," he told his staff. "Find replacements." 2 weeks became 4, then 6. The Council expected to hear from Earth any day, with humans begging to return to the Council's protection. But no messages came. In the private chambers of the Council, Zerkath met with the other leaders. "Perhaps we should send an envoy to Earth," suggested Trell, "to open a dialogue." Kulera laughed, a bubbling sound that echoed in the room. "And appear weak? Never. They will contact us first." "And if they don't?" asked Trell. "Then they will suffer the consequences of their pride," said Zerkath. "A species as young as humanity cannot survive long in this galaxy without our guidance. It is simply a matter of time." As they spoke, a junior aide entered the room and handed Mokhtar a report. The insect-like alien read it quickly, his compound eyes widening. "We have received news from the border near human space," he said slowly. "The Promaxian raiders have attacked one of our mining outposts. The station was destroyed." "Where were our patrols?" demanded Zerkath. Mokhtar looked up from the report. "That sector was usually guarded by human ships." The emergency alarms woke General Dexval from his sleep cycle. He rushed to the command center of the Council Defense Station. The large screen showed a red alert near the border of what used to be human space. "Report," he demanded. His second-in-command, a blue-skinned Arcturian named Velner, looked worried. 3 more mining stations have been attacked by Promaxian raiders, sir, all in the same sector." Casualties: 42 dead, 17 missing. All resource containers stolen. Dexval growled, showing his sharp teeth. Where are our defense ships? We sent a response fleet, but they arrived too late. Again. Velnar pulled up a map on the main screen. The raiders are hitting targets here, here, and here. All places where human patrol ships used to guard our interests. It had been 3 months since the humans withdrew from the Council. At first, the Council thought it was a small problem that would fix itself. Now they were not so sure. Send a message to Earth, Dexval ordered. Demand they explain their absence from the patrol routes. An hour later, Velnar returned with a simple message. The screen showed only text. Diplomatic channels close. Human Defense Force no longer provides services to the Galactic Council. In another part of Council space, Merchant Guild leader Rivapa stood in her empty warehouse. 6 months ago, this building had been full of luxury goods from Earth. Coffee beans, chocolate, special wines, and handmade items that wealthy aliens love to buy. Now the shelves were empty. My customers are angry, she told her assistant. They want their Earth products. Her assistant, a small green alien, checked his datapad. We have tried to contact Earth trading companies 10 times. They do not answer. Rivapa walked to the window and looked out at the trading port. Many ships sat idle, their crews with nothing to do. Before the humans left, this port had been busy day and night. It is not just the luxury items, she said quietly. The repair shops have no work because the human engineers are gone. The entertainment centers are half empty because the human musicians left. On the Council homeworld of Nexus Prime, a group of business leaders demanded to see the Council. After waiting 3 days, they were finally allowed into the Grand Chamber. The humans must be brought back, said Krell, owner of the largest shipbuilding company in Council space. My production is down 60% without human workers. My research team cannot function without human scientists, added Dr. Mira, head of the Advanced Technology Institute. They think differently than any species we know. They find solutions we would never consider. Zerkath listened with growing frustration. We have sent 6 diplomatic messages to Earth. They respond with the same automated message every time. The humans refuse to talk to us. Then offer them something, suggested Krell. They clearly want better terms. Kulera's tentacles waved angrily. We do not negotiate with those who disrespect the Council. The humans will return when they have learned their lesson. As they argued, a junior member of the Council staff entered and whispered something to Trell. The young Council member's blue face turned almost white. We have a new problem, Trell announced to the chamber. The shipment of element 935 from the human mining colonies did not arrive. Again. The room fell silent. Element 935 was essential for faster-than-light engines. Without it, new ships could not be built, and older ships could not be repaired. How much reserve do we have? Asked Zerkath. At current usage rates, less than 6 months, Trell said. We need to find a new source. In a secure room deep inside Council headquarters, the 7 Council members met in private. The mood was tense. We may have underestimated the humans, admitted Mokhtar. They are not returning as we predicted. They cannot survive on their own, insisted Kulera. It is impossible. Trell looked at a data pad showing reports from across Council space. With respect, it seems we are the ones facing difficulties. Perhaps it is time to consider that we need the humans more than they need us. Zerkath stared out the window at the gleaming city below. Prepare a diplomatic vessel, he said finally. We will send an envoy to Earth with our terms. Terms? Asked Mokhtar. What terms? Whatever it takes to bring them back, Zerkath said. Within reason. The Council diplomatic ship Harmony approached the edge of Earth's solar system. Captain Lux of the Arcturian fleet stood on the bridge, watching the stars. His mission was simple: convince the humans to return to Council space. We are receiving a message from Earth Defense Command, said his communication officer. "Play it," ordered Captain Lux. A human woman appeared on the screen. She wore a dark blue uniform with stars on the shoulders. "Council vessel, this is Admiral Diane Powell of Earth Defense Force. State your business." Captain Lux bowed slightly. "Admiral, I bring a message from the Galactic Council. We wish to reopen diplomatic talks with Earth." Admiral Powell's face showed no emotion. "Transmit your message. We will review it. I am authorized to speak directly with your leaders," Lux said. "My orders are to." "Transmit your message," Powell repeated. "You are not cleared to enter Earth space. Any attempt to proceed beyond this point will be considered hostile action." The screen went dark. Captain Lux looked at his crew with surprise. This was not the warm welcome the Council had expected. Back on Earth, Admiral Powell sat in the command center with Ambassador Harris and the human leadership team. They reviewed the Council's message together. "They offer us full trading rights," said Harris, reading from the screen, "and a 10% reduction in tribute payments." Dr. Alan Murphy laughed. "Is that supposed to impress us? After they plan to take over our mining colonies." "They're desperate," said General Rodriguez. "Look at the last part. They specifically request immediate resumption of Element 935 shipments." Powell nodded. "Just as we predicted. 6 months without our element shipments, and their fleet maintenance is in crisis." On the Council homeworld, Dr. Xiv presented his findings to the 7 Council members. His tentacles moved nervously as he spoke. "We have searched 17 star systems," he said. "Element 935 exists in only 3 locations outside human space." "Then we will mine those locations," said Kulera impatiently. Dr. Xiv projected images onto the large screen. "The first location is deep underwater on a high-gravity world. The second is near the core of a barely stable planet. The third is in an asteroid field that is highly radioactive." Zirkath leaned forward. "Your point, Doctor. We can mine these locations, but the cost will be 5 times higher than buying from humans. And we would need special equipment that only humans have designed." The Council chamber grew quiet. Trell finally spoke. "So we need humans, not just for the element, but for their technology and innovation." "I have one more finding to report," said Dr. Xiv. "Our science team discovered something strange while studying old star maps." He showed a new image on the screen. It was Earth's solar system, but the picture was very old. "This map is from our archives. It is over 10,000 years old," Dr. Xiv explained. "It shows Earth, marked with a special symbol. The ancient text calls it Home of the Guardians." Mokhthar's insect eyes widened. "What does this mean?" "We are still researching," said Dr. Xiv. "But it appears that humans may have been space travelers long before any of our species evolved. They may have deliberately hidden their true history from us." The Council room erupted in shocked voices. In Earth orbit, the space station Freedom rotated slowly against the backdrop of the blue planet. Inside, Captain Peter Allen met with officers from all human colonies. "The Council diplomatic ship is still waiting at the edge of our system," he told the group. "They have sent 3 more messages asking to speak with our leaders." "What are our orders?" asked Jane Butler, now promoted to captain of her own ship. Ambassador Harris entered the room with Admiral Powell. "We let them wait a bit longer," Harris said with a small smile. "Let them see how it feels to be ignored." Powell activated a large star map in the center of the room. It showed human ships spread across space far beyond Council territory. "While they've been trying to contact us, we've established 4 new colonies outside their sensor range," she said. "And our scientists have made breakthroughs in shield technology that the Council can't even imagine." Harris looked at the assembled officers. "The question now is, what do we want from the Council?" "They need us more than we need them." A young officer raised his hand. "Sir, why not just leave them behind? We're doing fine on our own." Harris shook his head. "Because isolation isn't our goal. Working together is always better than working alone. But this time, We'll be partners, not servants. On his ship, Captain Lux received new orders from the Council. He read them with surprise. Set course for Earth, he told his crew. We have been authorized to offer them full Council membership. Immediately, the news spread quickly across Earth and all human colonies. The Galactic Council had offered full membership to humanity. After decades of being treated as lesser beings, humans were suddenly valued. In the White House Situation Room, world leaders and military commanders gathered to discuss the offer. Admiral Powell stood at the front of the room, her face serious. "It's a trap," said General Rodriguez. "They just want our Element 935 and our technology. Once they have what they need, they'll push us aside again." Ambassador Harris shook his head. "I don't think so. I've known some of these council members for 20 years. They're truly desperate." President Laura Grant, a tall woman with calm eyes, listened to everyone before speaking. "What do our intelligence reports say?" Dr. Lisa Bennett activated a screen showing council space. "Their ships are breaking down without Element 935. 3 of their colonies have reported food shortages because transport ships can't make deliveries. The Promaxian raiders have become bolder, attacking deeper into Council territory." "Perfect time to negotiate," said Harris with a small smile. "Or perfect time for something else," said Admiral Powell. She pressed a button on the table. "Captain Greg Martinez, report please." A new face appeared on the screen. Captain Martinez had a scar across his cheek and tired eyes. "Admiral, my fleet is in position near the Council homeworld. They have no idea we're here. Our new stealth technology works perfectly." The room went silent. No one had expected this. "You positioned warships near Nexus Prime?" President Grant asked, her eyes wide. "Without Council knowledge." Admiral Powell nodded. "Just as they positioned ships near Earth many times over the years. The difference is, they know we're watching them. They just don't know how close we are." On the Council homeworld, an emergency session was underway. All 7 Council members sat at their high table, surrounded by military and science advisors. "The humans have not responded to our offer of full membership," said Zirkath. His purple scales had dulled, showing his stress. "Then we must show our strength," said Mukhtar, his insect mandibles clicking angrily. "We will send the Grand Fleet to Earth. A show of force will remind them who rules this galaxy." Trell looked horrified. "Are you suggesting we threaten them with war? Over Element 935? "Not war," said Kulera. "Just a reminder that the Council has protected them for decades. They owe us." Despite Trell's objections, the vote passed. The Council would send 60 warships to Earth, the largest fleet gathered in 50 years. 3 days later, the massive Council fleet emerged from hyperspace near Neptune. Commander Vex of the flagship Dominance looked at the blue planet visible in the distance. "Send the message to Earth," he ordered. "Inform them that the Council fleet has arrived to escort their leaders to Nexus Prime for proper negotiations." His communication officer looked confused. "Sir, I'm detecting energy readings all around us, but I don't see any ships." Suddenly, defense platforms appeared around every planet and moon in the solar system. They had been invisible until now, hidden by technology the Council had never seen before. "Sir," shouted his sensor operator, "human ships are decloaking." Hundreds of them. All around the Council fleet, human warships appeared from nowhere. They had been there all along, waiting and watching. A human face appeared on the main screen. It was Admiral Greg Martinez. "Council Vessel Dominance, this is Admiral Martinez of Earth Defense Force. You have entered Earth space with a military fleet. This is considered an aggressive action." Commander Vex stood straighter. "We come under Council authority to." Martinez cut him off. "You have 30 minutes to reverse course and leave our solar system. This is not a negotiation." Vex looked at the sensor readings again. The human ships were smaller than Council warships, but there were many more of them. And their weapons were locked onto every Council vessel. "They're bluffing," said his second-in-command. Humans don't have weapons that can harm our ships. As if hearing these words, a small human ship fired a single shot at an empty area of space. The energy blast was more powerful than anything Vex had ever seen. It could have destroyed his flagship with one hit. "Open a channel to all ships," Vex said quietly. "Order them to turn around. We're leaving." "But sir," the Council ordered. "The Council doesn't know what we're facing," Vex interrupted. "These are not the same humans we've dealt with before." As the Council fleet turned around, Admiral Martinez sent one final message. "Next time, call ahead before visiting. It's only polite." The Council chamber was completely silent. Commander Vex had just finished his report about what happened at Earth. The 7 Council members looked shocked. "They had hundreds of ships," Vex said, "all with technology we have never seen before. They could have destroyed our entire fleet." Zircath's purple scales had turned almost white. Why didn't they attack? They had every advantage. "The humans simply wanted us to leave," Vex replied. "They showed their strength but chose not to use it." After Commander Vex left, the Council members looked at each other with new understanding. The humans had never been weak. They had been watching, learning, and building their strength in secret. "We have made a terrible mistake," said Trell. His blue skin looked pale. "For 20 years, we treated them like children. All that time, they could have struck at us, but didn't." In a different part of the Council building, Dr. Siv worked with a team of researchers. They had spent weeks studying ancient records from all 7 Council species. What they found was changing everything they thought they knew about humans. "Look at this," he said to his assistant. He showed an ancient stone tablet from the Arcturian homeworld. It had a drawing of tall beings that looked like humans. The writing called them the ones who came from the stars. "And this," he continued. He displayed a very old book from Kulara's people. It told stories of sky guardians who helped them survive a terrible disaster 15,000 years ago. Every Council species had similar stories in their oldest records. Beings that looked like humans had visited their worlds long ago. They had helped each species survive disasters or develop important technologies, then disappeared. Dr. Xiv prepared his report for the Council. The evidence was clear. Humans had been space travelers thousands of years before any current Council species. For some reason, they had retreated to Earth and stayed there until recent times. On Earth, Dr. Alan Murphy worked in his lab deep under the Rocky Mountains. He studied the strange metal disc found 50 years ago in an ancient human city. The disc was covered with writing no one could read, but it contained technology far more advanced than anything humans had developed. "Are you sure about this?" asked President Grant. She had come to see his work personally. Dr. Murphy nodded. "The disc is at least 50,000 years old. It belongs to us, to humans, but from a civilization we don't remember." Admiral Powell joined them. So the stories might be true. Humans had an advanced civilization, traveled the stars, helped other species, then something happened, and we forgot everything. "It looks that way," said Dr. Murphy. "The genetic tests confirm it. We have markers in our DNA that show advanced space adaptation from thousands of years ago." Ambassador Harris walked around the lab, looking at the ancient artifacts. "The question is, do we tell the Council what we found? That we were once caretakers of the galaxy." On the Council homeworld, Zircath met with the other 6 Council members in a private room. No staff or guards were allowed. They needed to make the most important decision in Council history. "We cannot fight the humans," said Mokhtar. "Our fleet commander made that clear. We need their element 935, added Kulara. "Without it, our civilization will suffer greatly." Trell stood up. "I believe we must do more than just make peace with the humans. We should offer them leadership of the Council." The others looked shocked. Zircath's scales rippled with emotion. "Give leadership to humans, the newest species in the galaxy. Perhaps the oldest species," Trell corrected. He showed them Dr. Xiv's report. Read this. All our histories tell the same story. Humans were among the stars long before us. They helped each of our species at crucial moments in our development. The council members read in silence. Their faces showed surprise, then understanding, and finally, a strange kind of relief. "If this is true," said Zerkath slowly, "then we have not been dealing with newcomers to galactic politics." "No," said Trell. "We have been rudely dismissing the elders of the galaxy, the ones who may have helped our ancestors survive." After long discussion, they reached agreement. The Council would send their highest representatives to Earth with full authority to negotiate any terms. There would be no tricks this time. No secret plans, just the honest truth. The galaxy needed humans. The Grand Meeting Hall in Geneva was filled with people from Earth and visitors from across the galaxy. Sunlight streamed through the tall windows, reflecting off the polished wood tables. This room had seen many historic moments in human history, but none as important as today. President Laura Grant sat at the center of the human delegation. Ambassador Harris was at her right, while Admiral Powell and General Rodriguez flanked her left. Across from them sat all 7 members of the Galactic Council, looking uncomfortable in Earth's gravity. "Thank you for agreeing to meet on Earth," said President Grant. Her voice was calm and steady. "We appreciate the journey you've made." Zerkath bowed his purple-scaled head slightly. "We come with open hearts and honest intentions. The Council wishes to correct its past mistakes." For 3 days, the two sides talked. There were no tricks or hidden agendas this time. The Council admitted they had treated humans unfairly. They offered full membership with equal rights and respect for human territory. Ambassador Harris studied their faces as they spoke. After 20 years of dealing with the Council, he could tell they were sincere. They had finally realized that humans were not just another young species to control. On the final day, President Grant signed the new treaty. It was simple and fair. Earth would rejoin galactic society as a full and equal member of the Council. Human territory would be respected. Human innovations would be shared, but with fair payment and credit. "There is one more thing," said Trell, the young blue-skinned council member. "We believe the leadership of the Council should rotate among all members, and we suggest that Earth take the first turn as Council leader." The room went quiet. This was unexpected. Humans had gone from being treated as children to being offered leadership of the galaxy. President Grant looked at her advisors, then back at the Council. "We appreciate the offer, but we don't seek to rule others. We only want partnership and respect." Kulera's gray tentacles moved with surprise. "After how we treated you, you do not want revenge. Power over us." Admiral Powell shook her head. "That was never our goal. We withdrew from talks to protect ourselves, not to dominate you." After the Council members left to prepare their ship, Ambassador Harris walked with Captain Steve Brooks in the garden outside the meeting hall. Captain Brooks commanded the Earth ship Resilience, which had discovered 3 new habitable planets during the months away from Council space. "I don't understand," said Brooks. "We could have taken control of the Council. Why didn't we?" Harris watched a butterfly land on a nearby flower. "Because that's not who we are. Humans don't need to control others to feel strong." Later that evening, at the celebration dinner, Zerkath approached Dr. Alan Murphy. The Council member seemed nervous. "Your research into human history," Zerkath said quietly. "Have you discovered why your people left the stars long ago? Why you returned to Earth and forgot your past?" Dr. Murphy smiled. "We have theories. Some ancient texts suggest our ancestors chose to start over. They believed advanced technology was making us lose something important." "What could be more important than progress?" asked Zerkath. "Compassion, creativity, the joy of discovery," Murphy replied. "Sometimes you need to step back to move forward in the right way." As the celebration continued, humans and aliens mixed together, sharing stories and ideas. In orbit above Earth, ships from 15 different species docked at the new International Space Station. Among them were vessels from 5 species unknown to the Council, civilizations that humans had discovered and befriended during their time away. Admiral Powell stood with President Grant, watching the diverse crowd. "Do you think it will last? This new relationship?" President Grant nodded. "I do." The Council needed to learn that real strength isn't about controlling others. It's about working together. Far across the galaxy, on worlds that neither humans nor the Council had visited yet, other young species looked up at the stars. They were developing their first technologies, taking their first steps toward space. When they eventually reached the stars, they would find not an empire ruled by one dominant species, but a community of equals. And humans would be there to welcome them, just as they had welcomed others thousands of years ago.